You're listening to the Normal Isn't Necessary podcast, brought to you in part by the Gumball Head Sobriety Society and generous listeners just like you. For the latest updates, check out the link in our bio. Well, good morning, aliens and aliouts. It's your host, Gumball Head. It is Thursday, the 15th of May, 2025. It's a beautiful 60-degree day out here in Ohio. Sadly, it's only 60 degrees. We're on our way to Home Depot this morning to pick up a couple of things. So I hope everybody's doing well. I hope your week is going okay. Mine has been a mishmash of this and that. It's been a good week. I can't complain too awful much. I could, but nobody would listen to me anyways. We're working on the week and working on getting closer to the weekend. So I'm wondering what it would be like if I went to modernvikingllc.com and I placed an order right now and I used the code Gumball10. I bet you I'd get a 10% discount. If there's anybody out there willing to try that, please do so. modernvikingllc.com. Try the code Gumball10. Just make sure it works. If it works, great. I'll give you 10% off your order just by using that code. If you spend over $35, they'll even ship it to you for free. Now, another thing that's beautiful about that is if you go to our link tree and you click on the Hulu link, it's towards the bottom of the link tree. Hulu's going to give you 30 days for free. It's 30 days for absolutely free just for trying it through my link. The second thing that's beautiful about that is if you go to the bottom of that link tree, there's also a free 14-day trial of Headspace. Headspace is what I use when I'm struggling through the day. Headspace helps me get prepared for my podcasts. It gets me prepared for when I do my TikTok broadcasts. Now, I got to explain this to a lot of people out there that don't seem to understand that podcasts are not simple for me. Like, it's not as simple for me as hitting record and going with it. And same thing with TikTok. TikTok's even worse. TikTok induces the anxiety in my head so much that I actually meditate before I go on TikTok because I have to clear my mind before I go on there. And that's just because I know that people are watching me. And it's not so much like the people in the room interacting with me because I know those people are in the room. It's the people in the queue that sit there and watch me. And I know that they're out there judging me. And it's not a bad thing, you know. If they're in the queue, they're not harming me. Even if they're in the room, they're not harming me. I got total control over my emotions, my life, and my mind. I can kick them out of there. I can delete them. I can block them in the chat. I can block them in Messenger. But in order to get to that point, sometimes I just need to get in the right spot in my head. So Headspace is where I go. And if you try it right now, it's 14 days free. There's no obligation to buy. You can cancel at any time. Check it out. The link is in the bio. And, and I'm not trying to sell you guys on anything, but on the other side of things, these are really great apps. These are apps that I use on a regular basis. The Normal Isn't Necessary team uses on a normal basis. And the entire Gumball Head Sobriety Society, if they don't use it, it's because they already had it. If they haven't tried it, it's because they already had it. So check it out. The link is in our bio on the link tree. If you're listening on the Podbean app, there's actually a link tree link at the top of the bio here, right above the mini player. If you're listening on any of our other social media, just click on the bio in our social media. Go to the link tree link. It'll pull up all of our links. Everywhere our podcast is, our website, gumballhead.com, you can find it there. It's in the resources tab. Just click on the resources tab. It'll take you automatically to our link tree. Headspace, right now, 14 days free. Hulu, 30 days free. You do have to put your information in, but once that information is done, you can just cancel it. It's not one of those things where you get to run around. You have to go long-winded and call people and get online, and you have to do it on a computer or anything like that. So check it out. I hope everybody's doing well. Like I said earlier, I was reflecting this morning on the podcast with Rennie Talk, the podcast that we recently had with Forge the Sun. 2 great get-to-know-you series podcasts that you guys should jump in and take a listen to if you haven't yet. My wife did something really cool last night. She put it on one of the Gumball Head, or one of the Normal Isn't Necessary podcasts before bed. Just kind of let it run through the night. And every time I woke up, there was a little bit of wisdom that kept popping in and out, and it was kind of cool. Now, I'm biased because it's me speaking, and I hate listening to myself talk. That's why sometimes when you guys listen to my podcasts, they're not totally cleaned up when it comes to the recorded ones. There's a lot of ums and ahs because I haven't gone through and edited it. But it's really cool to wake up and just hear the tidbits of information that I've shared with people, because it's like, hey, I remember saying that. And a lot of times it's really neat because I remember exactly where I was when I said that. Like yesterday, for example, in our podcast, Hope Floats, I had made a statement about, I had made a statement, and I knew exactly where I was in my travel to work. I remember exactly what I was thinking, exactly what I was doing, and exactly what I was talking about. And the more I listen to my own podcasts, the more I just remember the information that I want to share the next day. And yesterday we talked about that suppression of children, and suppression of our kids, and being better adults and being better parents by limiting that access to emotional expression from our children. But, the more I thought about it, the more I kind of was like, oh, well, it's not just children that are affected that way. I have mentioned recently about one of our mutual friends is going through some stuff in their life, and there's amphetamine addiction from one of my wife's friends' husbands, and he's working really hard to hinder and damage the integrity of his wife on social media. And I don't know the specifics because I haven't gotten involved, because that life really doesn't involve me. They were her friends before we got together. They were her friends as we maintained our relationship. And, I'm a big believer in the fact that we all have that one person that we just don't want to have involved in our spouse's life, because then we put that friend in a really sticky situation if things don't work out or if things go awry. And I've done that with all of my friends. I look at some of my friends lists and see some of the friends that I have that are still friends with my ex-wives. And I said it plural, yes, I've been married multiple times, to my fault, not theirs. But I look at my friends list, and it's like one of my ex-wives have 67 mutual friends of mine. And it's just kind of like, you never even met that person in real life. And my friends are just like, whatever, dude, I don't even care. And it's great to see that as we grow older, those affiliations and those associations with people, they kind of go to the wayside, Oh, hey, look, it's Gumball Head's ex-wife, and she's getting married again. Congratulations to her, But there's not a whole lot of interactivity. And so I don't understand why people get so concerned about it. And I do know that I watched a video yesterday on Instagram while I was pooping. And on that video, there was a guy that was really angry, and this was a narcissist video, and the guy was super mad, super duper mad, yelling at his wife, calling her negative names, just really degrading her on this video. She's like, this is the abuse that I get on a regular basis. And and then it showed some of her Instagram posts on this video. She's like, look at how happy I am. You're not happy. You're full of shit. That's what you are. You are a victim of narcissism. You're a victim of mental abuse. You're a victim of assault, intellectual assault, because you're not happy in those pictures. And I say it multiple times a week. Social media is the fakest of fakes. We are not real life human beings when it comes to social media. We only let people see what we want them to see. We only let people hear what we want them to hear. We only give in our true emotion to the people that are in the four walls of your home, or therapists, counselors, life coaches, whatever it may be. But we don't let people see the real us. And the only people that know the real us are us as individuals. How many times have you sat in the shower and cried and thought to yourself, I got to get out of this. I'm either going to end up hurt, I'm going to end up dead. I can't understand why I'm always in the wrong, why I always feel bad. That's a result of gaslighting. I can't understand why there's always this going on or that going on. Guys, it's because we're not taking control of our lives. We're not taking control of our thoughts and our mental processes. And my wife says it a lot, not so much now, but she used to say it all the time. I can't understand why I'm always wrong. You're not always wrong. It's just your narcissistic partner feels that they are always right. It's the fact of understanding, as you grow, that it's not always your fault. And those situations where they make you start contemplating different negative things in life, like I need to quit my job because my husband doesn't like that I'm at work all the time, or this and that. I'm contemplating suicide as a result of, feeling a certain way because of my relationship. Nobody is worth that dissatisfaction in your life. Now, do my wife and I have those moments during our day where it's like, God, fuck you? Yeah, we do. What relationship doesn't have the fuck you vibe, And I know there's relationships out there that don't have that. Some relationships are just great, And I would say some relationships are near perfect. I won't say perfect because not anything in this world is perfect, except for the image of God and godliness. But we can't compete with that, But we have to understand that those near perfect relationships aren't always near perfect either. They still struggle with things in their lives. I look at some of the interactivity that I have with friends in associations with people that they've never been to the movie with their spouse or significant other. Now, my wife and I, we've never gone to a movie theater together and watched a movie. Is there anything wrong with it? No. But we've been to museums, we've been to zoos, we've been to, different, activities together. We've traveled together. We've enriched ourselves in culture. We've sat down and broke bread at different restaurants and had different experiences together. We've had a lot of experiences together. So the movie is not like the pinnacle. Oh, if you haven't been to a movie with someone, then that's not a real relationship, because some people just don't give a shit about movies. But interactivity, involvement with your significant other, doing things that you both enjoy, or doing things that one enjoys and you're there just to support them, or just show you're interested in your partner. It doesn't mean you have to like what you're doing. You don't have to be involved with Aunt Nancy's Christmas bazaar just because, because you love Aunt Nancy. You go to show support. You go to show, security. You go to show love and appreciation for that person. It doesn't mean you have to love it. I mean, think about it. The no thank you bites when you eat a meal when you're young. No thank you bites are not for the kids so much. Yeah, we want to introduce our children to different foods. But, I don't like that. I don't like that. Take a no thank you bite. Determine after you taste it whether or not you like it. Now, keep in mind, guys, that there are a lot of people out there that do understand that, I've had it before, historically. I don't like it. I don't like broccoli. I don't like Brussels sprouts. I don't like vinegar. I don't like salt. I don't like peanut butter. I don't like pickles. You get that from experience. But our tastes change over time. So, someone like me, when I was younger, I didn't care for peanut butter much. I ate it every day because my mom gave it to me, and that was a result of, you'll eat it and you'll like it, or you'll starve. Well, I knew I wasn't going to starve. My mom wasn't going to allow that to happen. I knew my mommy was better than that. But I didn't like peanut butter. Well, eventually I tried peanut butter with jelly, and man, was that a game changer. And, one of my favorite things in the world was warm peanut butter toast, but you had to put butter on the toast first. And this is how my mom got me to like peanut butter. There's just something about that combination between the butter that my mom used on the bread, and I'm not a bread person either, but my mom always bought white bread. My mom loved white bread. I have always liked wheat bread. Don't know why. I don't know if it's the density, the texture, or what, but I'll eat white bread. White bread is fantastic, in my opinion, for toast. White bread is fantastic for BLTs. But I learned at about 8 years old that I really like the way that butter on toast tastes, especially when there's peanut butter on there. Now, my mom had tried multiple different things, too. She would try the butter on toast with cinnamon, and then she tried butter with peanut butter and cinnamon. And I was like, you can get rid of the cinnamon. You can get rid of the sugar. I don't need all that. The butter and peanut butter suffice. They make me happy. That's satisfactory to me. And to this day, one of my favorite things in the world is a piece of peanut butter toast with a little bit of butter on it. Now, if I go out to eat, I go out to breakfast, and I sit down at a restaurant, and I have breakfast for dinner, or I have breakfast for breakfast, and my meal comes with toast. They say, what do you want? What kind of toast do you want? Dry white bread, please. Now, it's not that I don't like butter. It's not that I don't like peanut butter. It's that I want to see what's on my bread when it comes to the table, because there's a high likelihood that I'm going to put a little bit of that egg and a little bit of that bacon on that toast. I don't want you to coat it with butter because it requires a specific amount of butter on there. So my taste changed over time. So I understood and I curated what made me happy by working with what I had. Okay, and we can do that with our minds. We can do that with our relationships. We can do that with our jobs. We can do that with everything that we do. Our tastes do change over time, and we can curate that, and we can change that, and we can adjust the recipe over time to accommodate our tastes as a result of knowing from experience what we do and we don't like. Now, in those relationships where we've sat down and we've thought to ourselves, man, this relationship's bad, or man, I really hate the situation I'm in, we can change that recipe. You know, we can change the way that we approach things. We can change the way we look at things. We can change the way we feel about things simply by making small changes. Now, notice when I was talking about the toast, I was talking more along the lines of I didn't care for toast with peanut butter on it, but I tolerated it, right? So that's a narcissistic relationship. And sometimes people don't realize that they're in a narcissistic relationship until one day they realize that they're in that type of relationship. Sometimes they're married with children and then it's too late. But sometimes you have the opportunity to observe that before things go awry. Now, divorce in America is simple. If you're not happy in your relationship, you go to court, you file papers. If you have children, you wait 6 months. If you don't have children, you can accelerate it in 90 days. If somebody in the relationship has objections, well, guess what? Fuck off, buddy. Nowadays, if things are bad, things are bad. And the courts are starting to understand that those relationships may have physical abuse or mental abuse involved. They don't require you to stay in that relationship. After a divorce, do things change? Well, yeah, they change. Your mind starts to clear up. It's the same thing as intoxication when it comes to alcohol or drugs. Over a period of time, that clarity starts to come once your mind starts to heal itself. Now, mind you, I'm a sexual assault survivor. I'm a PTSD survivor. I have ADHD. It's not self-diagnosed anymore. It's been diagnosed. I am not on the spectrum, okay? But my ADHD is my mental capacity to not be able to focus on certain things. Yes, I should be medicated, but I don't believe in that medication aspect of things to change the way I think about things. I fully believe that I can control those thoughts, I control those emotions just by drawing from my experience. Now, some cases, in some instances, it's a higher demand for chemical change inside our brains in order to observe or understand those situations that our brains are going through. And that's just based on the amount of damage that's been caused in the past, or the amounts of changes to the gray matter inside our skull that have affected the outcome of our day-to-day thought process and the day-to-day life. It has nothing to do with you being fucked up as an individual. It has everything to do with the ability to change the way that you are, the way that you approach things. I say the serenity prayer every single morning. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't take control and I didn't take advantage of the opportunities that I've learned and the experiences that I've had and applied those to my day-to-day life. Now, I'm not saying that's a 100% surefire way to change things. Sometimes, like I said, you do require medication. Sometimes we do require change in situations, sometimes environmental change, sometimes mental health change, sometimes medical influences. Sometimes we need to just check out for 30 days and go to an inpatient rehab center and change everything, But regardless, all of those things require that change. And yesterday when I was speaking of, the world is not designed to make us happy. It's not designed to make us happy. There is nothing in this world that is going to make you happy except for you making yourself happy. But in order to make yourself happy, you have to understand what makes you unhappy. And in order to understand what makes you unhappy is you have to evaluate things. Now, that sucks. And it sucks worse the older you get, because the older we get, the more change is necessary to, accommodate our lives, and to accommodate our approach, and to accommodate our thought process, to accommodate those things that we need to accommodate in order to make those changes in our lives to make ourselves happy. Stop waiting. Stop hoping. Stop dreaming and start doing those things. Now, I'm going to refer back earlier to our amphetamine-addicted friend or associate or, whatever you want to call them. But they are going through a part in their lives where the disease process has taken over their lives and is starting to deteriorate their brains so much that they're saying off-the-wall and wild things about somebody else. Can that be remedied? It can be, but this person has already made it up in their mind that they do not want to change. Their spouse has talked to them about recovery. Their spouse has talked to them about rehabilitation. And they've said, no, I don't want to change. And I've seen that a lot in amphetamine, the clients that are addicted to amphetamines. It changes their brain process so much that they do not want to make that change. And as a result, they are dead set and committed to living the remainder of their life addicted to this particular drug. Now, there is a moment in life where our brains reach an acceptance level. And that acceptance level comes to the point of, this is the cards that I've been dealt. This is the hand I've been dealt. I have to deal with it. I have to win this poker hand with the cards that I have dealt. You could still overcome those things. I know people that are heavily addicted to cocaine. I know people that are heavily addicted to alcohol. I know people that are heavily addicted to heroin, and they still live a happy and successful life. The downside to it is they never know when the next day is going to come because of their addictions. Sometimes we party a little too hard. I've learned it recently. 3 beers is too much. 4 is way too much. And it's a matter of understanding that those things will affect you. The way things used to be are not the same way that they are. It's the same thing with a car. The more miles you put on a car, the more damage it's done to that car's engine. The more information we put into a computer, the more that information is going to, slow down our computers. If we don't do regular maintenance on our computer, if we don't do regular maintenance on our car, it's going to shut down. It's going to eventually give up on us and quit working at optimal, performance. And the same thing's going to happen with you. The same thing is going to happen as a result of your inability or your lack of desire to change. The same thing is going to affect you eventually as a result of, not wanting to do those things. Well, you know what? If you don't want to, that's fine, but you have to accept the outcome of it. And then that gives you another opportunity, because as long as we're still above dirt, we can make that change still. And it doesn't have to change everything all at once. You think about people that stop alcohol. I'm following someone on TikTok right now. I popped into his lives a couple of times. The other day I dropped in, he was 13 days sober. He was playing Battlefield 4 on TikTok. I was super proud of this guy. I was like, hey, just stopping in to say thank you. And they were like, for what? And I was like, you're 13 days sober. Well, that doesn't have anything to do with you. Absolutely does. Because you're telling me that it's okay to get sober no matter what we've gone through, no matter what we've done, no matter what we've discovered, no matter what we've challenged ourselves with. You're making that change in your life. Then I was in on day 14, and yesterday was day 15, and I popped in and I was like, hey, just came in to support you in your sobriety journey. And then, of course, they said, check out the link in our bio. I hope they do. I hope they come in and they see that, we are making a charge. We are making a change. We are trying to do that. I did one of those, oh, hi, nice to meet you videos on TikTok as well. That video says my real name. I don't say my real name on TikTok. That video says, where I'm from and how old I am. And it gives a little bit of information about who I am. Father of 6, I'm a club fit dad, PT, or a sexual assault survivor, PTSD survivor, mindset coach, here to destigmatize mental health. That's one of the worst things in the world. One of the worst feelings in the world is to know that you're going to a function and, you've got things going wrong with your head. I almost dropped another F-bomb. I try to keep those limited these days. But approaching life with, that mental health, man, it's tough for some people. Hey, you want to go to a concert? Sure do. Let's go. And then come day of the concert, that person is a ball of anxiety. That person is just wrapped up in the mindset of, holy crap, I don't want to do this, And it sucks for those people because they want to go and enjoy something. And once it comes to that time, it sounds great at the time, but once it comes to it, it's like, man, I really don't want to do this. Really don't want to do this. This is going to be tough for me, But here's the thing. Some of those people bail out. Some of those people cancel last minute. And some of those people just do it. They go. And they enjoy themselves. And they have a good time. It may not be a great time. But you know what? It's better than sitting at home thinking to yourself, man, I really wish I would have went to that concert. Or I really wish I would have went swimming. I really wish I would have bought that T-shirt when I was at the vintage T-shirt shop. Because now we live with regret. What's worse? Living with satisfaction and knowing that we were able to accomplish something that wasn't possible at one time, or accommodating your mind and doing something that appeals to you and makes you happy, even if it comes with a little bit of discomfort. Now, think about that. Think about what I just said. Going to a concert, you don't want to go to the concert because you're going to have social anxiety, but once you go and you get home, you feel satisfied about it. Those are the little changes I'm talking about. Because you get home and now you talk about that concert for 2 weeks. But all you can think about while you're at that concert is how anxious you are, how the people are influencing your feelings and your thoughts, because you can't enjoy the show because you need to make sure that you're looking and keeping your head on a swivel 360 degrees and this and that and the other thing. But then you get home and that's all you talk about for a month. Look at the change that you made as an adult. Look at the change that you made as somebody who has the ability to make change. Think about that, guys. These little things in life, like changing the makeup of what goes on your toast, can change the way that you look at life. It could change the way that you feel about things in your world. It could change the way that you approach things insurmountably. Add a little butter to that toast. Try to make that change. Try little things. Try the no thank you bites in life. Just try. And see how it comes out. And if it doesn't turn out the way that you want it to, then you know that you don't like it. At least you took a no thank you bite. Take pride in that as well. And until our paths cross, stay strong, stay focused, stay sober. Much love, guys. We'll see you all soon.